Thank you to everyone for joining the IKEN live event, Leading a Digital Recovery. Over the course of the next hour, we'll explore how data is being utilised across Europe in response to COVID-19 and how the acceleration of investment in data-driven technology will have a long-lasting impact on society, the economy and the environment. We are very excited to have 4 speakers to hear from, hailing from some of Europe's most innovative cities, Espoo, Cluj and Valencia. Today's event has been delivered through our IKEN network, a spin-out programme from the European Commission's annual European Capital of Innovation competition for the most innovative cities in Europe. The IKEN network and platform is powered by Glasgow City Council and Glasgow City of Science and Innovation, who curate new opportunities for greater collaborative innovation between academic, public and business sectors, locally, nationally and across Europe, including today's event, to drive greater business innovation and support inclusive growth aims. Our IKEN platform connects 22 of Europe's leading cities of innovation to researchers, innovators, entrepreneurs, policymakers and investors worldwide to develop fresh ideas, share best practice and unlock the power of co-creation to transform innovation policy and practice around the world. I'd now like to introduce you to our speakers for today, who are each going to say a few words about themselves. So first, I'd like to hand over to Vera Vihula from Espoo.
Hello, everyone. So I am Vera Vihula and I come from city of Espoo, where I work as a development consultant at our service development unit. My expertise is more on co-creation and open participation, but our team works for city as a service goal and projects where we develop platform-based and service-dominant logic-based service models and operation models. And there the data is, of course, a very key capability that we work with. So very happy and interested to take part on this discussion today.
Thank you, Vera. I'd now like to introduce Oana Buzatu from Cluj-Napoca.
Hello, nice to meet you all today. I'm the spokesperson of the City Hall of Cluj-Napoca, and also I'm in charge with, I hear myself into devices, it's a little weird. I'm also in charge with Citizen Information Center, and from this position, I found myself for the last years in the middle of the change that happens to our city to go digital. So data came to Cluj, starting with people needs.
Great, thank you, Anna. And Hema Roj from Valencia.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of the event for giving us the opportunity to share innovation from Valencia. My name is Hema Roj, as Kimberly said. I'm a telecommunication engineer. I was working at the Polytechnic University of Valencia. Then I was working for 5 years in an SME, giving a healthy service for the citizenship. From 2012 till now, I'm working at Las Naves. Las Naves is the social and urban innovation agency of the city of Valencia. We depend directly on the Department of Innovation of the city. The city council, or funds come directly from the city council, and our task here is to develop the city through innovation projects, always pushing the citizenship in the center of the innovation process. What we like to say is that we are humans, innovating for humans. My task here is as project manager. I'm responsible now for finding funds to develop innovation projects of Valencia. We participate in Horizon 2020 program, in Interreg, we are members of Climate Kit. By the end of the day, what we try is to bring to Valencia different innovation funds to develop innovation projects for the city.
Lovely, thank you. And last but not least, Fernando Prieto, also from Valencia. Oh, Fernando, you're on mute. Sorry, we had to say it once at least in the meeting, so. Oh, Fernando, you're still on mute, sorry.
Sorry. Yes, I work with Gemma Roig in Las Naves in Valencia. I hold a PhD in ecology in Autónoma University de Madrid. I work for the president of the government in the cabinet, and I work in evaluation of public policies a lot of years. And in the last years, I work in Observatory of Sustainability. We work about sustainability in Spanish cities, evaluating the quality of life, the growth of the cities, inequality, air quality, environmental areas. And for example, I coordinate the report 1 million of solar roofs in Spain or energy in Spain in times of COVID-19. It's very interesting.
Lovely, thank you. And I just want to say a huge thank you to all of our panelists for being here today. So we're just going to kick off now. We've got a couple of questions and then we'll move on to audience questions as well. And thank you to everybody who's been sending those in so far. So just to start with, for the panel, can you outline how your city utilises data, both before COVID and also to support its response to COVID? And first of all, if it's okay, I'll go to Oana. Thank you.
I cannot even believe it has been only a couple of months since we are all passing through these weird times, because the change it has bring almost makes me complicated to remember how it was before. You know, our city was in the middle of starting to organize this digital transformation process for the community, which not only included the municipality but also all the other stakeholders and other public institutions, most of them connected on a national level with a lot of national restraints. And we were tackling this big challenge, how to go digital with everybody in the same time on the same boat, so it makes sense. And it's at the end useful for the citizen, because we didn't want to complicate and make them feel like they are living in some sort of a sci-fi city, just to be able to say that we utilize data and we are as smart as we can be. And we were just there starting to figure out what the challenges are, and who wants to say only no, it's not possible, it's not going to happen, we don't have resources, we don't have people, we don't. And then COVID arrived. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted to do something about it, because in order to continue to do your activity, in order not to be able to, not to be forced to let people go, you needed to provide the same services in the same way you did before, but avoiding getting people physically in a lot of places. So for the first time in my experience, everybody started to answer invitations for calls and for meetings. And we start to look a little bit at the interconnectivity, the way we can do together in the same time, the same type of process, so we can meet at the halfway. And I feel like, yes, it's absolutely horrible that we all passed through this, but it has been a tremendous help in order to make everybody understand it isn't change that needed to be done for the city. So we are pretty much there.
Thank you, and I'd just like to say that experience, I can echo that experience back in Glasgow. Yeah, it's a terrible situation, but it's definitely been a platform for moving forward. If I could go now to Fernando as well for the same question.
Yes, okay. Valencia now is very, very fast and very smart city, is very innovative. Now it's in a very big transformation. And I would like to put some slides, if it's possible. Very fast. I think so. Is this one? Okay, and we think we are trying to change from a smart city to sustainable city. No, we have a lot of years with smart city, what, 5 or 6 years, but now we are trying to work in sustainable cities. No, and this is the idea. No, and the idea is very important. The integration data and analysis with participation of people to try accountability for the sustainable city. And it's very important to make a dashboard to know all the data, but the data with intentionality, no, to know exactly what is the problem that we can find in the city, no. Okay, I only want to say there are 3 big areas that produce the data in the city. First one is Municipal Statistical Office. Another one is Smart City Office. And the third one is the Portal of Transparencia. And the idea is to connect all the three areas to put or to try to do the big dashboard to know exactly what's happening in the city, no? And everybody is possible to understand what's happened. No? Okay, probably we can speak after. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Fernando. And just to Vera as well for that same first question, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. There's a lot of happening in Espoo considering data, but I would like to take this opportunity to share a concrete example of a project we did together with VTT Technical Research Center, where we use data in a new way to our city. So since the COVID-19 hit us, we've been all talking all over the world about the new normal and trying to find our paths to it with minimum negative effects to our local ecosystems. And since cities and its economic system are a complex network of interconnecting dependencies, and the COVID-related crisis has put the system in a state of disruption, defining the new normal requires preparation and coordinated management and decision-making from all levels of the society. And on that, it's not very easy to forecast how particular decisions are going to affect the bigger picture, the ecosystem level. But it's not impossible if we have and share a better understanding of the systemic dependencies together. So what we did was a systemic analysis and modeling that can help us to recognize those variables that create a positive spiral, and also recognize those variables that can increase the negative effects. So we mapped and visualized causalities based on numerous interviews, and then created a dynamic model. And after that, we poured in the city data that we have, and also national level data such as population, and tuned the model so that it would also, we could build also a simulator dashboard. The simulator dashboard is kind of a flight simulator for the city leaders to test different scenarios. So they can change different values and see how that affects variables based on real data. And I would like to show you a couple of pictures how this looks like, so you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So very shortly, I think you can see the presentation now. Yes. So this is the causality model, where it shows very small probably on the screens, but these are the headlines that we looked at, the ecosystem level. So not just the city organization, but you can see that we also looked at the world economy and how that affects the local startups and the local business ecosystem and the national system, and how that actually affects the social services and health in Espoo. To zoom in a bit closer look, unfortunately, of course, the variables are now in Finnish, but here you can see that in the middle we have the unemployment, and then there are those dependencies shown here. And the boxes are those that we can have an actual data. So we know this is, for example, the unemployment in Espoo. So that is the variable that or the value that we can simulate, what happens to that, and then we can see how it affects different things in the model. And this is what the flight simulator or the simulator dashboard looks at the very beginning of our work. So we are going to develop this further, but for now we have recognized that the jobs are actually one of the core variables that we need to look at. It's it's kind of obvious, of course, that if we need to better our economy, we need to have jobs for people, but we can see that affecting all levels of well-being in the city. So we have taken that as one of the starting points for our analysis. And here you can see the different values that the leaders can actually change to see how the numbers can change within time and with different variables. So that's an example of what we've been doing, and this is something that will definitely continue in the future. Also post-COVID, we can see the value for knowledge-based management done this way, and also to support the impact assessment or evaluation.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you. And moving to the next question, what are the biggest barriers and challenges that you faced in using data? And this question to Ioana.
Yes, I think technically the biggest barrier that we face at this moment is the lack of interconnectedness between different set of data in what's needed for a citizen to have a life experience, because everything was figured out and legified based on layers of authority. So you have the database for birth and marriages and death and the life evidence, which is strictly legified in Romania by a certain ministry. And then you have the database of the one city with the taxes and the fines and all the citizen needs related to the city. And then there is a bit of property that it's also connected with another type of stakeholder. So every time we try to look at each task as a life experience and to try to simplify it and use the data and create a digital way of solving that problem, we face this kind of barriers. And we already started because we thought it's not worth waiting for something to happen from the top down. We might as well start to create our own way and leave and open all the places where it's not up to us to connect, but create a possibility. And our experiences especially for the last month, is that the other stakeholders that are the ones who decide on the way that type of data is being processed are open to try to figure it out and to connect it to ours. So the first physical barrier is the interconnectivity and the lack of it at this point. But at the same time, we are very hopeful that we can solve it in a medium term. And it's all together in what we call the digital transformation strategy of the city, which is an open and living document, co-designed and co-worked with all the stakeholders involved, not just the authorities and the data owners, but also citizens and companies and universities, because Cluj is a university city and we are a lot relying on their experience and their outsider perspective to put order in things. And we think that we are on the right direction to try to create a model that will be useful and citizen-centric.
Thank you. Yeah, again, my experience at Glasgow has been that it almost seemed like a huge task pre-COVID when we're talking about integration, interconnectivity between these databases and some of these systems that are all so siloed at the moment. But I've always said that where there's a demand, and I think what we've seen is we've generated a demand and a value, and that certainly has helped to sort of break down those barriers and get people to realise that it's the right thing to do, because there's value at the end. So thank you. Just moving on then. Can you highlight the key factors that have accelerated the culture of data use in your city and any adjustments you've had to make, whether that be culture, any skills or around about your team? And if I could go to Vera first on this one, thank you.
Yeah. So I think one of the key things for us is the ecosystem level thinking, and as I said, our goal is to become city as a service, and we recognize that data is a key capability that we need to manage to be able to build those service dominant modern network based service models. One of the biggest steps for our data, our working data has been the 6-city strategy and Open Data Spearhead project, and it's an EU-funded project where 6 Finnish cities are working together, and it ran 2015 to 2018 on the data spearhead. And it truly had an influence on how cities here see the data as a resource and as a capability. And not only for knowledge-based management, but also for the ecosystem business models. So we recognize that the data has other value than just for the one that it has for the city organization. So to us in Espoo, the great accelerators are our strategic partners and collaboration with VTT and Aalto University. Una said that they are a university city. We share that. So the researchers have that expertise and the newest research and applications on utilizing data that we as a city don't have. But when we collaborate and build those strategic partnerships, we as an ecosystem thrive. So that's one of the key factors to our success with using data.
Thank you, Vera, thank you. And Fernando, would you like to come in on this question? Thanks.
He's muted.
Kimberly and Fernando, you're both muted.
Sorry.
That's okay.
There are three key factors that there are very important now in Valencia. First of one is the new urban agenda. Is a political mandatory of the government in Valencia. The other one is the sustainable development goals, and third one is the Agenda 2030. And the three factors are very important to increase the culture and increase the interest of population. And in the other hand, there are a lot of thousands and thousands of data about air quality, about water, about different areas, and it's very difficult to make with all of data indicators that are important, are key for the people. No? And this one is the next steps that we have to do. No? For example, to have the dashboard in the telephone mobile, or everybody can know the accountability about the things that they are doing, the politics in the city. No, this is one of them.
Thank you. And Oana?
Yes, for us, all that our colleagues have said before, it's equally true. But I think one of the most incentives in terms of getting all this subject on the table is the fact that 35% of the residents of Cluj-Napoca are under 35 years old. So you can imagine the appetite for adoption, for new ways, for digital tools, it's really high. All these people, young people, have a very big influence on their grandparents. So our studies and our research, local research programs show that paradoxically, one of the most eager to adopt new ways is the layer of seniors in the city. And during COVID, for example, we managed to see them be able to use already offered tool in order to get them access to digital tools and repurpose it for their own needs during the lockdown. And it was absolutely emotional and impressive, at least for me, to see them take everything that was already there for completely different reasons and use it for their own needs. So yes, it's young people and then their influence towards the other members of the community. Universities play a pivotal role in the city. It's one of the main strategic backbone of Cluj. We have 10 universities. We pretty much cover all layers of research and high level education. And this is why the city is a place where, if you are curious and eager to try to test, you can find a very fertile soil here. So all these also have a big impact in the layer of openness and adopting appetite, if you want. And of course, the IT community, 1 in 4 hired people in Cluj works in a connected way with an IT related industry. So we have a pretty favorable place in order to test, to use, and to demand, in the end, all these digital and data-based approaches.
Thank you. So certainly, what's coming out there, some strong common themes, but all of the cities very much working in collaboration and partnership with academia. So universities playing a really key role. And again, I'm finding the exact same experience at Glasgow as well. We're very lucky to have a number of universities on our doorstep. And I think certainly in the last 9 months, we've accelerated our collaboration with the universities. There had always been some partnership, but I'm pleased to say that that's really, really taken off in light of the current situation, and I think to everyone's benefit. Just sort of moving on then, how do you see your city progressing post-COVID, and what role does data have within that? And if I could go to Fernando first on this one, please.
Yes, I would like to put a presentation if I try. I think it's that. Just one moment. Okay, this is the idea about the infrastructure of data. No, we have a lot of data in different areas, but we try to put to the service of the citizen. No? Then it's very important to try to look for the context of everyone, and the platform is good to be the last problem. No? But it's very important to choose, for example, the data of the water in Spain, of the energy, of the transport, sustainable transport, the quality of air, and there are different areas. No? And for this, we are trying to work always in the model with 4 L's, ¿de acuerdo? Es the private sector, the civil society, the public sector, and after the association, etc. No? And there is we are trying to put all the things to the citizen. Okay. We are trying, for example, all of the public works or the public procurement we are trying in the city, they put all the data in the same platforms. And then we are trying there are exit of information, for example, for the strategy 2030, the barometer of the city. We try to know what's the opinion of the people in every place, and we are trying to solve this weakness that we have note. For example, the information dispersion, information overlap. There are some gaps that we are trying to connect, because there are problems that we don't have the good information. For example, in inequality, it's very important for the mayor now, this problem, and we are trying to look for information about, for example, energy poverty, or there are different problems that we don't have the good information. No? And we think it's complexity adapting a new demands of citizenship. Okay. And then we are trying to, for example, after the COVID, we tried to determine the needs of the SDG and the urban agenda of Valencia. No? Probably in few months, we will have several indicators to put in the dashboard to know how is the SDG in every district in the city. Okay. And then we are trying to enrichment all the data, to put all the data together, but try to know the trends that we can find. No? And we are trying to put in the platform the smart city, but not only smart, for example, for transport mobilities, to put another things that probably is very more interesting for the people. No? One of the areas, policy and strategies that we are trying to make accountability about the things that they are saying, to try to know what is the reality about this. No? And okay, I can put, but in the immediate future, we are working, Gemma will speak about this, about the missions, about the ODS 2020, the SDG, okay? The roadmap to sustainability, for example, is very important now for Valencia to be a neutral city in CO2 in 2050, and probably to try to be capital of biodiversity in 2024, okay? And I don't know if we are going to do or not the state of the city, a periodic report to know what is just the state of the city in this area with the best data. No? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Fernando. And yeah, same question. How do you see your city progressing post-COVID, and what role does data have within that? To Vera, please. Thank you.
Yes, so we are definitely going to continue with more systemic analysis. We are combining that to impact assessment or evaluation. A lot of what we are trying to do with data is optimizing the services. So we are also changing the perspective more from the smart city infrastructure to the citizen services. And our motto is right services to right customers at the right time. And there we see a lot of potential for optimizing using data and AI. We've been doing experiments with it a lot, also in the social and health sector. And what we try to find is the preventive actions. So where we can, for example, in family care, take action at the right time so that we can prevent them from going to tougher phase or harder services. So that's what we in Espoo are looking from the data. That's our goal.
Fabulous, thank you very much. And Oana as well for the same question, thank you. Oh, sorry, you're mute, Oana, you're on mute, sorry.
Sorry, I don't know how I promoted. So yes, I think it's weird to hear 4 times the same type of approach, because there is no million ways to approach need, and it's always a pleasure to see how similar we are, even if we are in such different places on Europe. Definitely, we built a lot and we did a lot of progress, and now we have a pretty much clearer idea on how this set of data and the structure, the architecture should be constructed in order to make more sense. People are more open to put their trust in digital tools more than they were before. We also have, like every city, developed a local app to try to keep track with the COVID numbers and try to make it visible for everybody how important it is to take the basic and personal measures in order to keep the numbers low. The city managed for the last 3 weeks to avoid being quarantined because of the way communication worked between really bottom level in the city, and technology and data played a vital role in that. This app that was created and put together in a couple of weeks by the local IT experts is really useful, because it shows them really very sensitive differences, and you can almost feel like putting my mask and making sure that my kids wears it as well, you can see by tomorrow a difference. And I think this helps a lot, especially on a psychological level, because looking at the big numbers all the time, you don't feel like your effort could make an difference. Sorry. And these kind of tools can show to every single individual that it does. And this is the only way we will manage to stay afloat by the time the vaccine arrives. And we can also, for the vaccine, I was just finishing a discussion before joining you. It will be really, really important how we will manage to logistically tackle this, because I don't know how the people are feeling in your cities, but in Cluj there is a big wave of people mistrusting the fact that these vaccines are so new, and everybody's like kind of waiting for somebody else to do it first, and then look a bit what will happen, and then decide to do it itself. And this will not get us to the 60-70% of immunization, so we can consider this problem solved to be able to pass on the new one that awaits us in 2021, no doubt. So putting together what we already have, putting together the most trustworthy stakeholders that we have, and the most able to get to the bottom of the community using technology and data. This is, I think, what's on our plate for the next month.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, and great, moving on, I'd just like to ask Hema, in particular about, I've lost my bit of paper, how does your innovation strategy support collaboration between entities for the use of data?
Thank you, Kimberly. As we were commenting at the beginning, the Las Naves is an entity of the City Council of Valencia that supports the innovation department of the City Council of Valencia, and Las Naves right now is supporting the innovation strategy of the City Council. This innovation strategy was launched last year. Before of that, we were looking for some headlights, for some guidelines about how to focus innovation from Valencia. And we found those guidelines in the documents of the proposals of missions-oriented innovation from the European Commission, and also, as Fernando was mentioning, in the Sustainable Development Goals. We decided that these documents should be the guidelines, the headlights to focus innovation from Valencia. And we detected that at the city, and also we detected that also it was happening at the rest of the European cities. We detected some deficiencies related to innovation. The first deficiency that we detected was that the citizens do not perceive that research and innovation could improve their lives. Maybe they do, but they are not aware of it. Moreover, we detected that the projects that we used to develop didn't fit with the big challenges of the humanity. So the results we were getting are not able to solve most of the big important challenges of the world. Moreover, in the past, we used to select how to innovate and where to do it without maybe specific criteria, and maybe discarding some good potential solutions to big challenges. And last but not least, we definitely forgot to ask ourselves, how could we improve people's lives? All these deficiencies were related with data, and we are sure that with the good treatment of data, we are able to solve these deficiencies. Through these deficiencies, in order to overcome them, we decide to deliver our innovation strategy called Missions Valencia 2030, and was a new governance model related to innovation. This innovation strategy was focused in three specific objectives. I'm going to share with you some slides in order for you to understand better what I'm talking about. Here. The first objective of our strategy is to show Valencia, to offer Valencia as a testbed city, because Valencia is ready to be a testbed city for each project that could improve people's lives. Last year, we offered to our society 4 different models of city: healthy city, focused on the well-being of each person; sustainable city, focused on the environment; shared city, focused on the collaboration between persons in the city; entrepreneurial city, focused in the recovery of the economic ecosystem and in recovering for the and improving the resilience of the city. All the projects that could be fit in each one of these models of city could be tested in Valencia, and Valencia is ready to be attested for it. Moreover, we are in the point of defining our missions. All our missions will be fitting in this, in all these, or in each one of these city models. The second objective of our strategy is that Valencia is showing how research and innovation is a collective journey rather than an individual destination. And this, we are showing this in 4 different ways. First way, we are adding the talent from the entire ecosystem, because we think that our strategy is not a strategy just for the city council, but also for the entire municipal area, and including the whole innovation ecosystem. What we want is to see how the different actors related to innovation in all the 4 helices of innovation in the city are working together, looking for the same objectives and trying to get the same impacts. Moreover, we are showing that innovation is a collective journey involving the whole ecosystem in the whole governance process, from the beginning to the end, from the definition of the missions of the city to the validation of these missions in open accountability processes. And the third way we are showing that is with a wide political consensus, because our strategy is supported by the 94% of the political leaders of the city of Valencia in order to develop 5 strategies, 12 commitments, and 80 actions in order to transform Valencia towards a missions-oriented city. And the third objective of our strategy is that we want to show how research and innovation could improve people's lives. This is because we are going we want to show the social value of innovation. And the social value of innovation is a good that the city could offer, and is a priority in the urban agenda to show to the citizens how the innovation could improve their lives. And we are doing it with different strategic approaches related to communication actions. All these actions are related to data. That data can support us in this task, in the task of achieving this strategy and developing this strategy. And we are building our constellation of specific research and innovation projects related to Valencia. Here you can see how we are building our constellation of projects that we are already developing on about future projects, similar as the ones that Fernando has mentioned before.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you. Great, now thank you very much to all of our panelists there. We're now going to move to sort of live Q&A session with the audience. So I don't see anything coming up in the chat at the moment. However, thank you. We've had a huge number of questions already set in. Please feel free though to keep adding in the chat, or also put your hand up and we can come to you live. In the meantime, I've got a couple for us to be getting on with. And actually, Hema kind of mentioned or touched upon it there. The question is, how are you planning to keep citizens on board with your city's data strategy and innovation strategy? And I know Hema mentioned that, but I think it's really important. If I could go first to Vera on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the key questions. I think all over Europe, we are discussing my data and operating models for that. We are actually part of one of the projects here in Finland where we are trying to solve how citizens actually themselves can handle these service data and finding the operating model for it. But one of the key things also is getting everyone involved. So we are, of course, targeting more those that may be a bit lacking behind So finding the words, finding the semantics that actually talk to people. I think it was very nice how Hema showed us how Valencia made those. I think there were flyers or posters where you take the person and their name to the focus point, and it's a project manual, not project for elderly people in difficult situations with digital tools, but as a person, how can we help them? And that's kind of perspective that I'd like to see more in other cities as well.
Thank you. And Oana, have you anything to add on that?
Yes, we created a tool which is called the Citizen Innovation for Civic Imagination. And this is an informal place that just got digital with the last the last couple of months. But it's a tool and a place where people learned that they want to be together in order to discuss and to tackle projects, things, and potential development ideas. And it got more and more digital and more updated with all these tools. We are working as we speak to try to put together a new project in order to take and create a virtual city. And this will be a platform that will allow people to, on a live approach, to be able to express their opinion on things, or even to submit projects, or to adjust them based on their own expertise and feelings. So civic innovation and this Center for Civic Innovation and Imagination is, I think, the main piece in the city, and it spins off more and more sub-projects, either on type of public, like children, for example, will be a big main topic in the city for the next month, because we really want to go down and see the city from children's eyes, and try to kind of go to this new age of data using and digital tools with the new public that actually gets them and was born with them, and all the others should join on the process, because I think it's the most intuitive way to bring this new reality in Cluj.
Great, thank you very much. I don't see any hands up at the moment, so I'll just keep going with the questions that were sent in, but please feel free to put your hand up, don't be shy. Question, and because we've heard from the cities today, we've heard about how important universities, etc., have been. How can more rural communities benefit from some of the work that we're doing in the cities at the moment? So that's anyone. I'm not going to pick on anybody yet, but any of our panelists want to hazard a guess? I suppose it is a challenge, isn't it? And certainly more rural settings have different challenges to cities. I think we've all seen that, none more so than certainly in Scotland. If you look at the COVID cases, I think north of the cities, it's all going quite well. Shops are open, everything's going great, but then our challenge in the city. So some of the great things that we love about cities can also be detrimental, and yet equally some of the rural communities aren't yet quite getting the benefit of some of the innovation and data, and they've got different challenges. So it's not an easy one.
Yes, maybe I can give you a short answer. The first thing we could do for sure would be to share all the successful results with all the different cities and rural areas we have around. In fact, next week at Valencia, for example, we are going to organize an event. We are going to coordinate it from Las Naves, in which we are going to involve different city managers around Valencia, and we are going to analyze with them what they need in order to develop the city through innovation, what they need in order to develop innovation in their cities. We are going to work during one whole day. In the beginning, we are going to receive different conversations about innovation in Europe, innovation in Spain, and innovation in Valencia city. And in the afternoon, we are going to work with them about their needs, about their challenges in order to get and to find these innovative projects. We don't know we are going to find, we want to find these challenges in the afternoon, and we are proposing that next year we will organize different events, each one of these events around one of the challenges we will detect next week. And this is one thing we are going to do for sure. One of the values, one of the more valuable thing we can get from the work of the big cities is the possibility of exchanging good results and best practices, and the possibility of interchanging the projects that are being tested in one city to another city. It's simple. It's simple, but and at the same way, it's difficult.
In the same idea, we are trying, for example, to put the alimentation, to put the SDG 2 to alienate with the big city, no? Then in Valencia, for example, there are a big huerta, there are a big place that is possible to produce organic products, etc., to feed all the city, no? Then it's very possible to have a true ecosystem with no toxics, with no pesticides, no inorganic surplus, and then you can feed the population. No? And there are more things, for example, the ecosystem service that they are going to produce to all the city, no? And it's possible to imagine some pay to ecosystem service, for example, no? Then it's possible to make a very sustainable ecosystems, no?
Thank you very much. And the next question I was just going to ask is, what does the future job market of digital and in particular data look like, and how should organisations be considering these roles right now in light of what we need going forward?
For us, if I may
say,
we are very much looking into the new way of using talent and expertise, and try to create and to nurture even more here in the city the startup community. We are about to launch tomorrow, together with Valencia and a lot of other cities, the innovation European innovation area, and to open our city towards everybody in the world that wants to come and try to work on medtech and e-health based solutions, to use all the infrastructure and the ecosystem that we have to offer in the city in order to try to come up with the next solutions and next ideas and next inventions and next ways to face the new normal. In the same time, we are looking inside our community and going as low as we can in terms of age to try to come up with a pre-seed innovation fund that we will open soon in the city. And it will be a co-designed and a co-owned initiative with all the ecosystem stakeholders, and also with stakeholders that are coming from outside Romania in order to support the innovation ecosystem here. So the future for us is about trying to use the time young people and children have and to fill that learning time for them with the new tools they need in order to get to the point of knowing by themselves what needs to be done for their future jobs.
Hi, Vera.
I could continue from that. So if we talk about the job markets and what's going to happen in this field, it comes to the people again, and how we build knowledge and skills. And so in Espoo, for example, we've arranged courses in upper secondary schools, high school level, for the students to hack city systems. So they have a course called Hack with Espoo, where they have guided course on how they are actually able to look for faults and vulnerabilities in city systems. So that the course teaches them not only the skills, but also the responsibility and kind of the white hat hacker mentality to use those skills that they might already have but don't know how to use.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm conscious of time now, so one last check if anybody's got any live questions they would like to put to our panelists at all. Say now or forever hold your peace. Oh, great, fabulous. Thank you. Bill, if you want to come in now, thanks.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I've really enjoyed this. What I was thinking was, as someone who was born in the same year as they launched Sputnik, gives you an indication, I've been listening to what has been said, and a lot of it seems to be coming back to, rather than looking at your own individual institutions, it's more about a branding, as in the case of Kimberley, it is now actually brand a Glasgow, rather than a Glasgow, Strathclyde, etc., and all that. And it's also a case of people are looking to move forward. But if we can get it such that people can access data and move their own to see how it would make a difference to their own life, I think that that would add to the actual buy-in of the people. And as Uma was saying there, in Spain, a lot of the actual cities are now working together as Spain, rather than Valencia or Barcelona and all these places. So it's looking at a larger group. Do you think that there's anything to be actually said to make it easier for people to see how it would affect them on an individual basis rather than in posters, etc.?
Yeah, no, I think just to pick up on that, I think what we have heard throughout today's panel in that element of transparency. So it's about sharing. I think we've got a responsibility to share this data, to empower, the citizens, to help them understand the situations. I was really interested to hear in particular about, I think it's Juana said that they're sharing the data about, at a local level, so that people can understand that the micro changes that they are contributing to. And I think there's a lack of transparency, certainly in Scotland with our data, and I think we are looking at how we can address that. There's even a concern about sharing data on where COVID cases are, because there's a concern that if your rate per 100,000 is low, then you might just sort of start to get a bit cool and not wash your hands. So, I mean, there's always that kind of flip side, but I do think we need to start looking at our neighbours and colleagues that we've spoken here today, and there is something about that transparency and sharing of data. I do also think collaboration, we've spoken about collaboration within our cities and that ecosystem. I think that more than ever is coming out. But also I feel that in the last 9 months, personally, Glasgow have collaborated more with every other city and rural council in Scotland than we have done in the previous 50 years. So I think we need to keep that up, Bill. I think you're absolutely right. I think we need to come together, and it's not about what we can create and deliver in our silos. It's about the power across all of us and contribution to that. I don't know if any of the panelists would like to add anything.
Well, I can see that I think that well, you said it. I agree wholly. Also, what's important that we would discuss before we do things. I mean, we as a cities, we often come with, oh, this is a great thing that we did. Please hear and learn from us. But that we would go to the start and ask there that if anyone else is doing something similar, and share in the beginning of the projects and not just for the end of it. And I think that's kind of a perspective change that we could take, or we could be better at, everyone.
I would agree. Yeah, share at the beginning.
Yeah,
me too. And the results, I mean, once, for example, like Hema said, they had a lot of lesson learned, a lot of tools already done with European projects in the last term, financing term. It will make sense for everybody else to come, bring that and build on. So I think this will be a very good starting point for us to go into details in terms of cities. I know Cluj will be super open about it. I mean,
yeah,
why go to do all this effort that somebody already did in order to get to the same point and not take the result and build on it or adapt it?
That's it. That's it. I think when we're talking about these ecosystems, that's it. It's about building on what's already there, but then feeding it back so that everyone gets the benefit. You know, not reinventing the wheel. And I know we say that flippantly, but we do it time and time again. So, okay, fantastic. Conscious of time, so a huge thank you to all the panelists, and huge thank you to our audience today. I think I certainly have been frantically making notes. I've learned a lot, and I think there's been a lot of like common themes. In particular, I think that citizen-centered approach, I think that's really more important than ever going forward. That consultative approach as well. City as a service, I heard about that, which I absolutely love. I really am going to take that back to Glasgow. And I think that transparency. So again, we've heard how some of the open data projects have really gone a long way to helping people understand the importance and the value of data, and to help them not to be afraid of data, and therefore and the fabulous opportunities that it affords us, and collaboration as well, not just within our city ecosystems and with universities, but with each other, and sharing and asking each other for help at the start of projects rather than further down the line, because we're all trying to achieve the same outcomes at the end of the day. So yeah, no, that's been really, really inspirational for me. So thank you again, huge thank you to everyone. I've got one last thing. I'd like to encourage you all to sign up for the Can Do Innovation Summit on the 3rd of February next year. A focal point for business innovation in Scotland. SMEs will meet innovators, entrepreneurs and academics that can help them to adopt new technologies, build progressive working cultures and access the right support to enable innovation-led recovery and growth. So it's a lot more about that collaboration we've been speaking about. Keynote speakers from global brands such as Pixar, as well as national SMEs at the forefront of innovation, are already lined up. It's a free event and will explore how businesses from all sectors will be able to build sustainable growth and resilience after the global impact of COVID-19. So you can register for free at candooinnovation.scot. And if no one's got anything else, I'd just like to say a final thank you. And the session will be posted on Glasgow City of Science and Innovation website in the next few days. So thank you, and I'll enjoy your lunch, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very
Bye-bye.
much. Have a nice
Bye.
day. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.